Come on!
I'm sorry, this has to stop, man. This is a stupid conversation and it has to stop. This is a stupid conversation. Apparently, the only company, not or at least console maker, that is not allowed to make multiplayer games, and I'm gonna say it that way on for a reason. The only company not allowed to make multiplayer games is PlayStation. You must use your influence and your consumer voices to gatekeep Sony from entering into the live service field. You put in PlayStation Live Service in your YouTube search, and this is what you get. You get titles like PS5's live service, games nobody wants. You get all of these videos about buckle up, right, trying to warn you PlayStation's live service will fail, right? You get all these negative Sony is killing PlayStation with live service games. All these negative titles, all these negative videos. The future of PlayStation worries me. PlayStation live service strategy isn't working. It didn't start. It didn't even start yet. PlayStation's live service isn't working. It didn't start yet. And on every podcast, 90% of the people that talk about it, they talk about it in a negative way. I've seen people who been begging Sony for PlayStation for multiplayer games. Soon as they see it, because the rest of the crowd wants to bash it, wants to put it down, because they have the ultimate say on what PlayStation is. Apparently, most of these people discovered PlayStation during the PlayStation 4. When it blew up during the PlayStation 4, that's when they discovered PlayStation. Because I've been playing PlayStation since '95. Okay, PlayStation always had multiplayer games, even if they didn't make it themselves or they didn't publish or didn't own it themselves. They've always had multiplayer. They've had Twisted Metal. They've had Jet Moto. They've had uh, Gran Turismo. They've had SOCOM. Right? You know what? Speaking of Sony multiplayer, have you ever heard of a game called EverQuest? You ever heard of that? Pretty big game. One of the earliest forms of the MMORPG as far as successful ones. Right? You look at this. This was a Sony online game, right? This studio made MMOs. EverQuest is a legendary MMO, right? It was commercially successful. Okay? Now let's we gotta really, this is why this conversation is stupid. This is why this conversation is stupid. First, let's look at what a live service game is. Before, let me just set the table. So, what is a live service game? A live service game is a game that sees a constant stream of new content added post launch and is purposely designed to keep you playing years after launch. This is unlike traditional single player games, which can be completed in a set number of hours. You know what that means? It said a lot of content after launch. You know who makes live service games with that definition? Nintendo. Mario Kart is a live service. Super Smash Brothers is a live service. Pokemon Go is a live service. On the other uh, console or home console, whatever you want to call it, Halo Infinite, live service. Sea of Thieves, live service. All these consoles can make live services, except for Sony, apparently. And this is what everybody's afraid of. This recent news report that came out that Sony's increasing its budget by 40% to help fuel more live service games. Where does it say it's taking away from the single player budget? It said it's adding 40%, right? So what are you worried about? Same budget is going to be there for the single player games that it always was. And then, man, a little bit of math. Let me think to myself. Carry the two. Okay, you add 9 studios, right? You add 9 studios. The remainder you carry the one. Don't you have to raise a budget when you add 9 game development studios? Shouldn't you have to raise the R&D needed for their projects? Right? What is it? 9 studios, 8 whatever studios. You might have to raise the budget a little bit, especially if you brought those studios in specifically to make a majority of the live service games you're talking about. So you got the studios that always made the single player games you liked. They're still there. Still got the budget. Add 8 more studios. Right now, I think they have 21 studios. Those so you have 8 more studios. Maybe they're dedicated to this live service initiative. Plus the 8 of the studios. Let's look at this. This is PlayStation Studios. All right, you got 8 new ones plus 8 of the old ones already made or was known for multiplayer games, and they're just going back to what they used to do. We heard Guerrilla Games got like 5 games on Horizon or whatever Horizon projects. So if they take their franchises and just add a live service element to it, you're talking about 70% of PlayStation is now involved in some sort of multiplayer. And this is my thing. This is my thing. This is why this conversation is stupid. If they don't do live service in today's atmosphere, they're not getting the results they want. Think in your mind right now of the top multiplayer games out right now. Are they live service? I'll do you one better. 13 multiplayer games with the highest player count. Tell me when you see a regular multiplayer game that's not live service. I'll stop. Just let me know when to stop. You let me know when to stop now. I'm not looking right now. I'm talking to you. Go ahead. Let me know when to stop. Go ahead. Tell me. Remember, these are top 13 games, most player count. Go ahead. Hmm. Make a regular multiplayer game. Just make a regular one, right? Okay. Did that? That's the end of the page, right there. So basically, multiplayer now is live service. If you want it to be successful, live service. You ain't making the Killzone 2 run around in the box. No, you're not doing that no more. corridor shooter, tight shooter. No, no, you're not doing that anymore. You're doing live service, environment storytelling, environmental changes, cosmetics. That's what you do now. MMO, Destiny mixed multiplayer. That's what you do now. You want Sony to go back to Resistance? Run around in a circle? You want that in 2023 again? Um okay, so man, I guess that's it, man. And oh yeah, one more thing. People are talking about Sony's never done it, so they're not going to be successful. So besides the fact, let me add to that conversation. They have Bungie, they have Haven, which they're used to live service games. Let's look at another company, and it's a bad example because it wasn't a good game. But let's look at another company that really had no experience doing live service, and they were successful. I'm going to the lowest common denominator with this. Fallout 76. Remember the last time we heard from Fallout 76? Trash game, broken game. This trash game, broken game was a success. Todd Howard claimed that the game had a total of 11 million players. Hold on, real quick. Fallout 76 surprises everyone to get 13.5. Let's open that. Million players. Trash game, bro. Fallout 76 is worth playing in 2022. Fallout 76 is a success in spite all of its pointless online nonsense. This game came out in what, 2018? Look at this. When you realize Fallout 76 is more successful than Division, Anthem, and Borderlands 3. This is one of the games they highlight as a failure. It was successful for at least 4 more years from what we're seeing. Trash. They trashed this game. And it was a success for at least 4 years. They had no experience doing it. And they're successful mainly probably because just name recognition. Sony can use that same name recognition, even with the name PlayStation by itself as name recognition to keep a game relevant enough to keep the live service going. And when you ask people, why do you not like this live service? What is your alternative? Because regular multiplayer is not really what's big. Um, and other people want multiplayer. We didn't buy this console just for single player. Anyway, let me stop there because the video is getting long. Appreciate the watch. And that's it for now.